Hello everyone, welcome to this particular tutorial right here at Get Ahead Institute with me, the physio tutor. And in this tutorial, we are going to go over a few key multiple choice questions in parasitology. So these particular questions or this particular section will require you to choose the best answer. Okay, it will require you to choose the best answer from the options that will be given. So let's get into this. Question 1 says, all of the following are true. All of the following are true about mutualism except. So in other words, all the statements which have been given here are correct with regards to mutualism. Which one is not? Okay, among all the options that have been given. So the first one is saying in mutualism, only one partner benefits. B is saying in mutualism, both partners benefit. And option C says in mutualism, association is physiologically dependent. Then the last option says mutualists cannot survive independently. So you can go ahead and pause the video and answer the question. Okay, so on this particular question, the incorrect option is option A. The incorrect option is option A, which says only one partner benefits. Why are we excluding this option? It is because mutualism by definition actually benefits both partners which are involved, the parasite and the host. Okay, but option A actually tends to describe commensalism or parasitism. Then we go to question number 2. Question 2 says, according to the binomial system of nomenclature, which of the following is correctly expressed? So we have A, Trichomonas vaginalis, B, we have Giardia lamblia, C, we have Interamoeba histolytica, D, we have Bragia malai. Okay, so on this particular question, the best answer that we're going to go with is C, Interamoeba histolytica. So on this particular aspect, it is very important that you get to know a few things with regards to binomial nomenclature, binomial system of nomenclature. Okay, so in medical parasitology, when it comes to naming basically follows certain strict taxonomic rules, of which include the genus name is supposed to be capitalized and the species name is supposed to have to start with a lowercase. Okay, then the second rule is that both should be italicized or underlined when handwritten. Okay, and the last rule is that after the first full mention, the genus name may be abbreviated. Okay, so for example, Interamoeba histolytica. Okay, so we go to question number 3. Question number 3 says, in the life cycle of G. lamblia, existation occurs in the A, we have stomach and duodenum, B, we have stomach and colon, C, we have duodenum and colon, D, we have stomach and rectum. Which one is the answer? Pause the video and answer the question. Okay, so firstly, before we can answer this particular question, what is existation actually? So existation basically is just the process by which a parasite gets to emerge from its cyst into the active trophozoite form. Okay, so coming to Giardia lamblia, existation basically occurs in the duodenum. Okay, it occurs in the duodenum, and of course we can talk about the upper small intestine of the human host. Okay, and this particular existation is facilitated by the acidic pH of the stomach. followed by the alkaline pH and digestive enzymes in the duodenum, which tends to trigger cyst rupture. So that is why the answer to this particular question is stomach and duodenum, because this process starts in the stomach, because the stomach is the one that facilitates, okay, it begins the process of this excitation, and then it will end in the duodenum, okay? It will end in the duodenum, okay? So the cyst wall is dissolved by the stomach acid and bow in the duodenum, thereby releasing trophozoites. Hence, our answer is A to this question. Question number 4, it says, regarding trophozoites of Interamoeba histolytica, regarding the trophozoites of Interamoeba histolytica, all of the following are true except, all of the following are true except A, erode the lining of the colon, B, feed on mucosal secretion, C, form a flask-shaped ulcer, D, steatorrhea is not evident. Steatorrhea is not evident. Which one is the answer? So, true except, which one are we going with on this particular question? Okay, so the best answer that we are going to basically go with on this particular question is, before we can actually get to answer this particular question in detail, it is of great importance that we understand that Interamoeba histolytica, the trophozoites of Interamoeba histolytica actually form a flask-shaped ulcer, okay? And apart from that, um, they reside in the colon, okay? And by residing in the colon, actually, they can invade the intestinal wall, okay? They can invade the intestinal wall, and when they invade the intestinal wall, um, that means they can actually get to erode, okay, the intestinal wall, okay? And they can also may even travel via the portal vein to the liver, thereby leading to what we can call hepatic amoebiasis, okay? Hepatic amoebiasis, okay, which can lead to liver abscesses, okay? But the best answer here, which is not really evident or true with regards to trophozoites of Interamoeba histolytica, has to do with option D. Okay, it has to do with option D. Okay, so this option D actually is option D is something which is very evident when it comes to giardiasis. Okay, something which is very evident when it comes um, to giardiasis. Okay, very important to take note of that. Okay, so steatorrhea is a characteristic of giardiasis. But then question 5 says the clinical diagnosis of amoebiasis is different from that of giardiasis in that the clinical diagnosis is different of amoebiasis is different from that of giardiasis in that, how is it different? How is it different? Okay, so on this particular question, there's what we call amoebic colitis, amoebic colitis rather, which often causes blood in stool. Okay, amoebic colitis often causes blood in stool. Okay, so that aspect of blood in stool is what we call melena. Okay, is what we call melena. So melena in this case is evident when it comes to amoebiasis. Okay, and then when we talk about giardiasis, for giardiasis tends to cause fatty foul diarrhea without blood. Okay, hopefully that is clear. Then we got to question number 6. Question 6 says, what is the role of pseudopodia? What is the role of pseudopodia in amoeba? What is the role of pseudopodia in amoeba? What is the role of pseudopodia in amoeba? So this is very, very straightforward. A is saying store food until it is digested. B is saying transcription. C is saying movement throughout its watery environment, of which this is going to be our answer for this particular question. That is the role of pseudopodia. Okay, so you discover that amoeba basically uses pseudopodia for locomotion and phagocytosis, not for transcription or osmoregulation. We go to question 7. Question 7 says, which of the following is the second most, which of the following is the second most important, okay, is the second most important extra-intestinal site in amoebiasis, okay? Which one in second most common important extra-intestinal site in amoebiasis, okay? So, firstly, on this particular question, which is question number 7, um, when it comes to extra-intestinal sites of amoebiasis, we know that uh, the colon can't qualify to be the answer here, okay? Because the colon is the primary site, okay? Is the primary site, and Entamoeba histolytica can disseminate via the bloodstream, and when it disseminates via the bloodstream, it tends to lead to what we call extraintestinal amoebiasis. And common sites for extraintestinal amoebiasis include the liver, okay? The liver. So the liver is actually the most common, okay? It forms abscesses, okay? Most common. Then we also have the lungs, okay? The lungs. For the lungs, it is as a result of via direct extension or hematogenous spread. And we also have the brain itself as well. But for the brain, it's rare. And when it occurs, it is often fatal. Okay. Then even for the skin, though it has not been mentioned here, even for the skin, okay, in perianal ulcers or surgical wounds. But with regards to this question, our best answer is D, which is the liver. We go to question 8. Question 8 says, all of the following statements are true regarding the parasite helminths, except A, it includes intestinal worms, hookworms, and whipworms. B, they are found only in human intestines. C, are present in soil and can be spread to humans through the ingestion. D, common in tropical, so this is supposed to be tropical, okay, in tropical parts of the world that lacks good sanitary practices. So here they want a false statement. They want a false statement. Okay, they want a false statement. Okay, here on this question, they want a false statement. So the false statement here is that, as you can see, option B is saying they are found only. Okay, we have a word here, only. Okay, so this qualifies this statement. It makes it to be false that they are found only in human intestines. Okay, because you must understand that helminths can infect many tissues and often have environmental, soil, as well as water stages. Okay, so this is our answer on this particular question. Question 9. The infective stage of malaria in humans is called. The infective stage of malaria in humans is called. The infective stage of malaria in humans uh, is called. So here we are going to go with option. And by the way, don't forget to pause the video and answer. Okay. So now, infective stage of malaria in humans. Remember, humans are infected when bitten by a female Anopheles mosquito, which tends to inject sporozoids into the bloodstream. And then we are aware that these sporozoids will travel rapidly to the liver, where they are going to initiate the pre-erythrocytic cycle of Plasmodium species. Okay, so we can say that this is the infective stage of malaria for humans, which are the sporozoites. Then question number 10 says the infective stage of malaria in mosquitoes. Okay, now this is in mosquitoes, not in humans. Include the following except. Include the following except. Okay, so meaning three of these options given here act at the infective stage of malaria in mosquitoes, but which one? Except one. Okay, except one. Okay, so our option that we are going to go with on this particular question. First of all, remember when a mosquito ingests gametocytes during a blood meal, you find that the gametocytes, we have male and female forms, right? So they will develop in the mosquito's midgut. Then from there, fertilization will occur. And when fertilization occurs, it forms the zygotes. Okay? So we are going to have uh, ookinetes, we are going to have oocytes, we are going to have sporozoites. Okay? Then sporozoites migrate to the salivary glands, okay, becoming the infective stage for the next human host. Okay, so in this particular case, what we are going to talk about, our option here is going to be C. Okay, merozoites. So we're going to go with merozoites. Okay, because mosquitoes ingest gametocytes, sporozoites develop in their salivary glands. Merozoites do not infect um, mosquitoes. Okay, we go to question 11. Question 11 says transmission of malaria include the following except. Transmission of malaria include the following except. A, we have blood transfusion. B, bite by anopheles mosquito. C, we have congenitally. D, we have drinking of dirty water. Okay, so when it comes to this question is very easy and very straightforward. um, uh, we just need to understand that transmission of malaria includes all of these which have been mentioned on these options, except for option D, which is talking about drinking of dirty water. Okay, because when we are talking about correct transmission modes here on these options that have been given, we have Anopheles mosquito bite, okay, where it injects sporozoites during a blood meal. We also have blood transfusion. So for blood transfusion, this can be uh, direct transfer of parasitized red blood cells. Okay. Also, we can have. By the way, um, I've just remembered something. When we're talking about here on question 10, sorry to take you back. On question 10, when we're talking about malaria in mosquitoes, the infective stage. So you'll find that merozoites cannot act as the as the infective stage in mosquitoes, simply because these merozoites actually, when we have a direct maybe blood transfusion, you'll find that the merozoites in humans tend to act as uh, they tend to act as the infective form. This is very important, though it is rarely known. We only know that sporozoites are the infective form, but when there is a direct transfer, that is, for example, maybe through blood transfusion, merozoites will act as the infective stage or infective form of the parasite in humans. Okay, so back to this particular question. Okay, so blood transfusion. Then we also have congenital transmission, that is mother to fetus through the placenta. Okay, so the incorrect statement is that malaria actually cannot be transmitted by drinking dirty water, unlike some of the protozoa and helminthic infections such as Giardia lamblia as well as Entamoeba histolytica. Okay, so we go to question number 12. We go to question number 12. So question number 12, um, or we end on question 11, and then we are going to continue from there in the next tutorial. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.